Hello and welcome to Keep It Classical. And today I'm going to share with you what I think are the 5 best operas for people who are just getting into opera. Maybe you've always been meaning to learn more about opera. Maybe you're dating someone who's really into opera and you want to learn more. Or maybe you're just starting out as a career villain and you want to get more into the stereotype. Whatever it is, there's a lot of really good reasons to learn more about opera. It's really one of the most incredible art forms that we've ever created. It's an art form that really encompasses so many other art forms. Music, design, drama, poetry, costuming. So let's get started. Okay, so opera number 1 is La Bohème by Giacomo Puccini. This opera was probably Puccini's breakout success. The title translates to The Bohemian, and it follows 4 struggling artists in Paris. One of them falls in love with a seamstress named Mimì, and the story of their romance unfolds. So a few reasons why this is good for beginners. First, the music is simply gorgeous. There are so many beautiful tunes from beginning to end. It's not like all the beautiful music's in the 3rd act or the 1st act, it's all the way through. Second, there's not a lot of dead space. The action keeps going, the pacing is very good, and you don't find yourself sort of with like extended periods of nothing really happening or no good music. Third, the plot is simple and easy to follow, and it's poignant and memorable. So the runtime is approximately 2 hours without intermission, which may sound like a long time, but that's pretty close to the runtime of a modern day musical. It's actually shorter than Hamilton by 40 minutes. It's also shorter than Rent, which is a musical that based itself on La Bohème. I think the original's better. The second opera that I think is best for beginners who are just starting out is Carmen by Georges Bizet. Carmen is about a woman named Carmen, funny enough, who works in a cigarette factory and breaks men's hearts for a living, for fun. I don't know, she does it a lot. She meets a soldier named Jose, and we just get to watch their train wreck of a relationship over the course of 4 acts. A few reasons why this is good for beginners is that it's got great music all the way through with very, very, very little dead space. The other reason why this is also great for beginners is because you've actually heard a lot of this music before, probably in dozens of commercials. And while the habanero is probably the most popular music and the piece that you've probably heard before, there's lots of other great arias from this particular opera. Also, it has at least one sympathetic character. The others, it's a train wreck, I told you. Carmen's runtime is around 2.5 hours, which again feels like a lot without intermission, but again, that's still 10 minutes shorter than Hamilton. Okay, opera number 3 is Die Zauberflöte, or The Magic Flute by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. A lot of people like to put other Mozart operas as good for beginners, but I actually don't think that most Mozart operas are good for beginners. They take a little bit more time to get used to. So the plot of The Magic Flute is weird. I mean, it has a plot, but it's just not a good one. Like, you're not seeing this opera because of the plot, let's just put it that way. Basically, it's about these lovers that meet each other, and then they go through these reasons about why they can't really be in love with each other, and they go through this sort of quasi-Masonic trial. It's weird. But again, like I said, that's not really reason why you go and see this opera. The reason why you go and see this opera is because, again, the music is very popular and very memorable. You've probably heard a lot of this music before. Another reason to see this opera is because it takes place in a very colorful setting. And a lot of directors will take their productions to the nth degree because it's just so fantastical. Productions of Die Zauberflöte are typically very fun to watch. It's also a Singspiel, which means that the dialogue is spoken rather than sung. And that's a little bit easier, I think, for people who are just getting to opera. Musical theater actually comes from this tradition, and so for people who are into musical theater trying to get an opera, that's another good reason why Magic Flute is a good option for beginners.
Du wirst ihn töten und den mächtigen Sonnenkreis mir überliefern. Aber Mutter! Wart!
Okay, opera number 4 is La Traviata by Giuseppe Verdi. The title, roughly translated, means The Fallen Woman. It's about a call girl in Paris falling in love with one of her clients and trying to get out of that fast-paced life. But leaving is not so easy. Also, his family's pretty judgy. A couple reasons why this is good for beginners. It has music that you will recognize. Now that I think about it, a lot of commercials will use music from opera. Actually, from these 5 operas. Another reason why it's really good for beginners is because it's got an easy to follow plot that actually kind of is along the lines of, plots that we see in modern day television and movies. Also, there's a lot of really wonderful character development from our leading lady. The runtime, without intermission, is about 2 hours and 15 minutes, which is shorter than La La Land.
Poiché quello che al cuore onnipotente va, viviamo, amore, amor, tra i calici piccoli baci avrà.
Okay, the last opera that I want to share with you that's good for beginners is The Barber of Seville by Giacomo Rossini. And I was a little bit not sure if I wanted to put this on, but overall I think it is still a really, really good opera for beginners. So The Barber of Seville is about this count who falls in love with this woman who's sort of hidden away by her ward who's trying to marry her. It's kind of gross. So the Count enlists Figaro, who's the barber of Seville, he's kind of a jack of all trades, enlists him to help her escape so that he can marry her. So one of the reasons why it's good for beginners is because it's actually a funny opera. This is an example of opera buffa, or buffoon opera. They're sort of like screwball comedies, and on its own, even if it's poorly directed, it will still get you to laugh. And if it's directed really well, it's a very memorable experience. Another reason is because you will definitely recognize a few of the tunes. Admittedly, there are a couple of drawbacks to this particular opera. One, its runtime is just under 3 hours. To be perfectly honest, it could use with a few cuts. Just keep in mind that it is still shorter than the theatrical release for the third Lord of the Rings movie and Titanic. Another reason is that it has long recitativas, which musically are not as interesting, but they keep the action moving forward. If it's directed well, that won't be an issue. If it's not directed well, it can kind of feel like it's dragging a little bit.
Largo il factotum della città largo. La 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 la. Presto bottega che l'albergia presto. La 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 la. Ah, che bel vivere, che bel piacere, che bel piacere per un barbiere di qualità, di qualità. E Figaro, son qua. E Figaro, son qua. Figaro qua, Figaro là, Figaro qua, Figaro là, Figaro su, Figaro giù, Figaro su, Figaro giù. Pronto, prontissimo, son come fulmine, sono il factotum della città, della città, della città, della città, della città. Ah, bravo Figaro, bravo, bravissimo, ah, bravo Figaro, bravo, bravissimo, fortunatissimo, 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 per verità. La 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 la. A te fortuna, a te fortuna, a te fortuna non mancherà. Sono il factotum della città, sono il factotum della città, della città.
The other really great thing about these 5 operas in particular is that not only are they good for beginners, but they also get performed pretty regularly. So no matter where you are, you'll probably find one of these operas in a major city around you. I mean, I'm just looking at the opera seasons this fall in particular. I mean, this is going to date this video a little bit, but for the 2021 season coming up, Lyric Opera of Chicago is doing Magic Flute, Seattle Opera is doing La Boheme, Opera Colorado is doing Carmen, Houston Grand Opera is doing Carmen and Magic Flute. I mean, you can just see, like, these operas are not rare. These are performed quite a bit. That's another reason why these are great for beginners, because they're accessible. They get produced quite a bit, and they're easy to get into. So there you have it. Those are the 5 best operas for beginners. That's all for now. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you learned something new. If you like this video, make sure to check out my playlist about other special topics in music. And remember, keep it classical.